Hi guys, and welcome to Make It at Home for Nothing. Today I'm going to show you how to make this amazing Among Us cake, including my easy chocolate cake recipe and how to make my simple black buttercream. It's absolutely perfect for the Among Us fan. Watch till the end for bonus clips. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Press the bell icon to receive new recipes and don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Okay, so for the chocolate cake you will need 450 ml of vegetable oil, 8 large eggs, 150 grams of cocoa powder, 300 ml of hot water, 4.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 500 grams of sugar, and also 500 grams of self-raising flour. I've also listed the ingredients for our black buttercream, which I'll be making later on in this video. The first thing we have to do is make our chocolate paste by mixing the hot water into the cocoa powder. So just pour in the water and mix until everything is well combined and you end up with a smooth paste. Okay, so it should look something like this. It's quite thick. So we're going to leave that to one side to cool down while we prepare our cake batter. Now in a large bowl, we're going to add our sugar, the vegetable oil, and all of our eggs. So pop those 3 ingredients in and give that a mix. Now all that's mixed together, we're going to put in our chocolate paste we prepared earlier. So it should cool down now. Okay, it's best to use a rubber spatula to scrape all of the chocolate, and we're going to give that a stir. Okay, once that's all mixed in, we're going to get our flour ready. So into your self-raising flour, add the 4.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and we're going to sift that into the chocolate mixture. It's important to sift the flour so that you don't get any lumps in your batter. This recipe is enough for 2 10-inch circle cake tins. Okay, now we've sifted all our flour into our chocolate cake mixture. We're going to mix all this up until all the flour is combined. Now that's done, I'm going to prepare our 2 10-inch cake tins. So I'm going to grease them with a little bit of butter on the sides and the base of the tin. Make sure that's greased nicely, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on the bottom. Okay, make sure all that's covered, and now I'm lining the bottom of the tins with some greaseproof paper that I've cut to size. So this ensures that the cake doesn't stick to our pan and comes out nice and cleanly after it has been baked. Now all that's left to do is to pour our batter in equally into the tins. So once that's done, we're going to bake these at 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit for around 40 to 45 minutes, or until the top is firm to touch. If your cake looks a bit wobbly after this time, just reduce the heat and bake for another 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, we're going to pop these into the oven. And here we have our baked beauties. Leave to cool a little before taking out of the tins. So we're just going to run a plastic knife around the side to loosen the cake. And then just cover it with a plate and turn it upside down, and it should come out nice and cleanly. There we go, and then just simply remove the baking paper. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the other cake. So just take another plate, turn it upside down, and it should pop out nice and cleanly. And there we have our 2 layers. There we go. And then just leave to cool completely before the next step. Now that these cakes have cooled down, I'm just going to level them. So to do this, I'm using a serrated knife and a turntable, and make a cut all the way around the cake, and then we're going to cut all the way through. You can use a cake leveler to do this, but I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to cut all the way around. It's easier to use a serrated knife to do this, and then just remove the top part. You can use the top part to make cake pops or cakesicles, or eat it with some warm custard for dessert. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other layer. So just make a cut all the way through, around the sides. Cut all the way through and just remove the top. Now I'm going to add some simple syrup to the layers. This is just equal parts of white granulated sugar and water that I've boiled until the sugar has dissolved and cooled completely before I add it to the cake. This will keep it moist and make sure that the cake doesn't dry out. Okay, so just squeeze it all over the cake. And now these layers are ready to decorate. So we're going to make our buttercream now. So to do this, we need 250 grams of unsalted butter and 450 grams of icing sugar or confectionery sugar. Okay, so just put your butter into a stand mixer and whip it up until paler in color. I'm going to whip it on high speed for around 2 to 3 minutes. Now that's done. Okay, so I'm using this brand of icing sugar, which I've already sifted into a bowl. Now I'm going to add it a spoon at a time. Make sure you sift the icing sugar so you don't get any lumps in your buttercream. Okay, we're going to increase the speed, and around after 4 to 5 minutes you should have buttercream that looks something like this. Okay, so this simple 2-ingredient recipe is for my easy American buttercream, or ABC as it's called for short. So now we're going to scoop a bit of this out into a bowl and keep it to one side to make the filling for our cake. Okay, so I'm going to take some out, and now we're going to carry on and add some cocoa powder to make a chocolate buttercream. We do this because we need a dark base colour before we can add our black food gel. Otherwise you just end up with grey buttercream. Okay, so pop that in and mix until everything is combined. So this is our black food gel that we're going to add to our buttercream. I'm going to add the black food colour, a teaspoon at a time. And we're going to give that a mix. So for this buttercream I ended up using around 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder and 6 teaspoons of black food gel. So now you can see it's much darker, and I have this dark grey buttercream. So now we're going to cover it and leave it for a few hours for the colour to develop and work its magic. I'll put that to one side. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and make the filling for our cake. So here I'm adding a teaspoon of vanilla essence to our frosting and give that a mix. Okay, stir that in until everything is well combined. Okay, and now I'm going to put some in the center of our cake. And spread it with a palette knife. So spread it all over the cake, like so. Okay, now simply just put the second layer on top. And sandwich them both together, making sure it's all centered. Now I'm bringing my turntable back, and I'm just going to do a thin layer to crumb coat the cake and seal everything in. So just take some buttercream and spread it over the sides of the cake just to seal everything in, like so, and then we're going to leave that to set in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Now back to our black buttercream. So after a couple of hours you can see that the magic has worked and the colour has had time to develop, and now we have this dark, rich, midnight black colour, perfect for our Among Us cake. So now we're going to spread it and cover the entire cake with the frosting using an offset spatula. Okay, now I'm going to use my spatula to smooth the sides. And I'm using my scraper here to smooth the sides and the top. And you can just put the excess buttercream back into the bowl. smooth the top now. So I'm gently just spreading the cream over the top to get a nice neat layer. And when you're happy with it, clean up the sides of the board and then pop it back into the fridge to firm up. Okay, so that's that done. I've cleaned up the sides and now we're ready to decorate. Okay, so if you know, in the game there are different rooms and we're going to replicate the table in the cafeteria. So to do this you will need some blue fondant. Roll this out to about 1/8 of an inch, and then with a circle cutter we're going to cut out a circle. This will be the tabletop, and then we're going to do this again, and this time we're going to cut out a ring shape. So roll your fondant and then take your circle cutter, cut out a circle, and then a smaller cutter to cut out a ring shape. Okay, we're going to remove the center, we don't need that, and then just make 4 cuts, and then this will be our benches. Okay, like so. So here I went ahead and made the base parts for the benches and the table, so it has a 3D effect, and we're going to let this dry until firm. Okay, so here I'm going to make the emergency button. So roll out the yellow fondant and cut out a square shape. So I have my square plunger cutter. There we go, that's our square, larger square, and now we're going to make a smaller square with the grey fondant. So take a smaller square plunger cutter and cut out a square from the grey fondant, and then we're just going to make a small red ball to go on top, and that will be our emergency button. Okay, so there we have our 3 parts. Now with an edible black pen, make the black marks around the edge of the yellow square. Okay, this is easier to do when the yellow square is set hard, so I'd recommend leaving it out for about an hour so it's easier to draw onto. Okay, so when you've done that, we're going to take some royal icing and attach the grey square onto the yellow square. So you just need a small amount of royal icing and pop that on top, or you can use edible glue, whatever you have. And then on top of the grey square we're going to add our small red ball. So again, attach it with some edible glue or royal icing. There we go, cute little emergency button for our Among Us cafeteria table. Okay, so now all our parts are dry and hard. So we're going to go ahead and put some royal icing onto the base of our table and attach all the pieces. So there goes the table on top, and I've already done the benches. And then we're going to add the emergency button in the middle. Okay, the last part we have to do to finish off this table is to take a white pen, and I'm just going to write the word emergency on both sides so it looks like the table in the game. Just have to remember to spell it correctly. Okay, so there we go, emergency. And that's it, we're done. Now we just have to attach it to the cake. So take some royal icing again and place the table in the center of the cake. And then we're going to put the benches all around the side of the table. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in our Among Us characters or figures, and with some royal icing I'm just going to attach them to the cake. You can place them wherever you want to. Okay, these look super cute. To see how I made these Among Us characters, I'm going to put a link in the description box below to my other video how to show you how to make these cute characters. So we're just going to place them all on top of the cake. And now finishing touches, I'm just going to pipe on small white dots to replicate stars on our black buttercream. Okay, so it looks like outer space. Okay, so do that all around the cake. And there we go, the finished cake. It looks really cute and it's perfect for your Among Us fan. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the bloopers. See you next time.